Beyond the noise and the negativity, there is a Jamaica that is building, thriving, and thinking. At Let's Talk, we're capturing that spirit and exploring the issues that define our modern lives, from empowerment to finance to current affairs. It's more than just a conversation. It's an investment in us. This is Let's Talk. Welcome. I'm David Henry, your host of Let's Talk, where we're bringing you the stories that matter. When we talk about building Jamaica's economy, we often focus on what we need to do internally. But there's another piece of the puzzle. How can international organizations partner with us to help us achieve true national self-reliance? Our guest today will help us to explore this question. She's a national project coordinator for UNIDO, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, where she's coordinating a groundbreaking project that's modernizing Jamaica's agriculture and agro-industrial sectors. The project is working with MSMEs in key value chains like coffee, cocoa, and spices, providing technology transfer, equipment upgrades, and capacity building. Please welcome to the show Sanatty Holness Plummer, National Project Coordinator for UNIDO. Sanatty, welcome and thanks for being here with us today.
It is a pleasure, David. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with the basics. For people who may not know, what is UNIDO and what's the organization's role in Jamaica?
UNIDO is the United Nations arm that has the mandate for sustainable industrial development among developing countries. And in Jamaica, we are currently implementing a project that is funded by the government of Japan called the Technology Transfer Among Member States of the Caribbean Project. It's a very long name, but in short, we call it the Technology Transfer Project. That is a project that is being implemented across several Caribbean nations, and Jamaica is just one of those countries that are benefiting from that.
Okay. UNIDO is focused globally on fostering economic growth and industrial development. What's the vision for what UNIDO can do or can help Jamaica achieve, particularly when we talk about national self-reliance?
UNIDO's mandate is really, as I mentioned before, sustainable industrial development. So in terms of its vision for Jamaica, what we're hoping to achieve at the end of our time here, at the end of this project, is really to have value chains that are a part of the agro-industrial sector be more competitive, so they can compete not just regionally but internationally as well, to be more productive and to also be more resilient, especially in the face of increasing external shocks like a Hurricane Melissa, which would have occurred last year.
Okay, and how long is this project for?
The project currently goes to 2029. We started last year.
Skepticism about international organizations. People worry about dependency or question whether these partnerships actually benefit Jamaica in the long term. How do you respond to that? And how is UNIDO's approach different from just providing aid or handouts?
A key part of UNIDO's approach really is not just working with direct beneficiaries like our producers and our processors along the value chain, but we are working with those national agencies that are a part of the regulatory framework, that are a part of the enabling environment. At the end of the day, what we're hoping to achieve is a system, an ecosystem that is sustainable and can continue to grow and support your producers and your MSMEs when the project has ended.
But does that include the small man as well?
That includes everyone. And so the project, it's a national project, and we're talking about benefits from different levels.
Okay.
So there is the benefit from the institutional level, where we're working with the government partners to strengthen their capabilities to deliver their services to their end users, so to our producers and our processors. There is also the benefit to the direct beneficiaries or producers, processors, where we will be working with them based on particular needs and develop tailored packages to address the gaps that we find when we do those needs assessments.
Well, hold on, Sanatty. I hear you, right? But the small man would say, boy, I hear this so many times before, you know, and we have never benefited. So how do you get these naysayers in to be a part of the system?
I think one of the reasons why a lot of persons do benefit is because they do not know. They genuinely are not aware of opportunities that exist.
I agree.
And that is one of the things we're trying to address. So for the current initiative that we're doing, which is the call for applications. So this call is specifically for MSMEs that are a part of the agro-industrial value chains, meaning that they would have been using raw materials from agriculture to process into end products along the value chain, value-added products.
Right.
And we're targeting those persons. We're going to be doing a series of social media posts. We're going to be doing radio advertisements, so those persons who may not be using social media, etc., will be able to see it. And we're also disseminating the information through different networks that exist, through different agriculture networks, through different MSME networks. Each time I got a call, I would ask, where did you hear about the information? And sometimes they would mention somewhere that I wasn't even aware of.
Oh, really?
So it shows that the word is getting
And
around.
like where?
So there were persons calling and saying they heard the information through their Bee Farmers Association, for example, through a number of farmers groups, through a number of community groups. The information was being disseminated through PIOJ, and we were not in contact with anyone from PIOJ on the call
So
to disseminate information.
Right,
so the information has been disseminated. So what we're hoping is that the persons who really need to access this support will come to the front. And what I will also say is that a lot of times when beneficiaries see the criteria, they may not fit perfectly into it, and they sort of self-reject. And what I will say to them, do not self-reject. Apply anyway, you never know.
Because this happens a lot. What is the criteria?
All right, so we are looking for MSMEs, as I mentioned before, that are a part of the agro-industrial value chain. So they must be registered. And when we mention register, a lot of people think, oh, but I'm not registered with Companies Office of Jamaica. But as long as you're registered with a government entity, so it could be that you're a registered farmer with RADA, or you're a registered beekeeper with Bodles, with apiculture units, or you're registered with the JBDC with their incubator. So we're looking for that sort of interest from those persons. Also, we are targeting MSMEs that are a part of, that are either doing agro-processing, are doing cosmeceuticals and wellness, or are doing wood products, etc. So you must be using raw materials from agriculture to process into an end product.
So it's a wide scope then?
A value-added product,
okay.
Correct.
Well, you're working in partnership with the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, and the PIOJ, or the Planning Institute of Jamaica. Why is that multi-stakeholder approach so important for a project like this?
It is very important, David, because reach As an international organization coming in, first of all, persons are very skeptical. So when they hear an international organization coming in, if it is that it is not introduced by a local entity that they're very familiar with, then the uptake would be very low. So that's one reason. The other reason is that what we're looking at is sustainability after the project ends. And these are the institutions that are positioned to drive sustainability.
We have to take a break. Let's Talk will be right back.
My name is Otara Byfield Nugent. I'm the CEO of the Police Civilian Oversight Authority. And you are watching Let's Talk.
What great stories do you want to tell today? We are your storytellers. We are Digital Video Concept.
If you come to Jamaica and you want to have the best shoots ever, you have to call Digital Video Concept.
Producing extraordinary imagery with high-definition cameras on the ground and in the sky. Excellence is in our nature. Call us today for all your video storytelling need.
None of this would be possible, of course, if we didn't have our partners at Digital Video Concept.
Are you ready? We are ready. Let's go!
Your brand deserves to be seen. Don't settle for ordinary. Choose Symbiotic Media, delivering ultra-sharp, crystal-clear LED screens that make every image pop. Brighter visuals, seamless setup, service you can trust. From major events to intimate podcasts, big or small, we do it all. Your screen deserves to be seen. Call Symbiotic Media, 876-429-1110.
Are you seeking specialty dental care? Well, look up Emirates Facial and Dental Specialists, Jamaica's only all-specialty dental practice. All board-certified oral surgeons, periodontists, and endodontists, offering maxillofacial procedures such as wisdom teeth extractions, laser gum surgery, dental implants, and root canals. Dr. Williams Parkin and Beecher offers state-of-the-art specialty procedures at affordable fees. Call 876-678-6967 or 876-391-2923 to schedule an appointment today.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. We have in studio today the lovely Sanatty Holness Plummer, National Coordinator for UNIDO. So Sanatty, let's talk about the on-the-ground impact. The Industrial Development and Technology Transfer Project is targeting Jamaica's agriculture and agro-industrial sectors, specifically cocoa, coffee, and spices. What are the main challenges that these sectors are facing right now, especially after what has happened with Melissa?
When we just came to the fore, that's right before the project actually began implementation. We did a sector analysis where we looked at what were some of the major gaps and the major challenges that were being experienced in the agro-industrial value chains. And what we found was that three of the main challenges would have been low productivity, lack of technology or outdated technology, which would have in turn contributed to low productivity. There was also vulnerability to climate and disaster related shocks and stresses, as well as low value addition, low or no value addition really. And after Melissa, what we see is that those challenges are now accelerated.
Indeed.
And so what we are doing currently, working with these MSMEs under this call for application that we're doing, is to really address some of those gaps. And while we have to be frank, David, we cannot address everyone. We cannot support all the MSMEs that exist.
Right.
So for the ones that we're able to reach and the ones that we're able to support, we are doing targeted support for each based on their specific needs that are in alignment with those challenges.
Okay. So Sanatty, after Hurricane Melissa, you pivoted quickly to address an immediate need, distributing professional grade chainsaws to coffee farmers, through JACRA so that they could clear debris and restore access to their farms. But a lot of people had issues with chainsaws and these equipments. How did that response fit into the larger project goals?
So the larger project goal is really agro-industrial value change strengthen. That's on the or Jamaican component, right?
Okay.
And so when we look at what happened with Melissa, we are looking at building resilience. So we're not talking about productivity and competitiveness now, which is a part of our goals. We're
Indeed.
looking about resilience building,
right. Mm-hmm.
right?
And
so
you're bringing everybody back.
Correct,
on
back
stream,
on track.
right.
Because what you find is that once those producers are unable to produce, to give
you
you
have
the
nothing.
raw materials,
Right,
then
right.
you see the chain effect that it has for the processors
Right, it's a
who are a
domino
part
effect.
of that value chain, right? And so it fits snugly into our resilience building aspect of the project.
Okay. Sanatty, Minister Hill had, in his speech, had said that there were equipment that was intrinsic to the modernization of the agro-industry sector. Can you shed light as to what these equipment are? What is it that these equipment will do?
We are partnering with the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, and under that partnership, we will be providing them with some equipment to add to what is already in their incubator resource center. And what that will do is to allow them to facilitate more enterprises that would need the use of these equipment. And not just that, we're looking at providing equipment, cutting edge technology, that is. So it is two-pronged, so we'll be supporting the JBDC in that regard.
And
so
the
that
enterprises with the JBDC.
And the enterprises with the JBDC.
Okay.
So the enterprises will receive their support under the call. That technology transfer for enterprises will happen under the call, where we will provide them with the required technology based on the
Okay,
needs
that's one
assessment,
problem.
right? And then for those who may not be eligible for the call or who may not have applied, they can access technology through the JBDC Incubator Center. And so one of the things we're also trying to do is to get more enterprises to be aware of what the JBDC does, to be aware that this resource exists and you can make full use of it to expand and grow your business.
So Sanatty, you said there was a groundswell of information that was disseminated, that you got a number of calls by these small, medium enterprises. How hard is it for, the information to go out there for them to take advantage of it? Those that are not in the JBDC or are part of the JBDC enterprises, how hard is it for them to take advantage, or for those to take outside of that to take advantage of funding or a project like this?
Persons have been reaching out from different places where we didn't send this information originally, and it shows that it's getting out there. And so what we will be doing to sort of complement that as well is to also do, as we had mentioned before, the radio advertisements. We'll also be continuing to nudge those networks, sharing the information so that as much MSMEs as possible can be aware of and apply for the call.
We're going to take another break and come right back. Let's talk. We'll be right back.
Again, the whole business of oversight is to drive accountability. And one way of driving accountability is to encourage and to boost morale.
Indeed.
And one way of boosting morale is to have awards and incentives.
Indeed.
Commanders, the station commanders, the divisional commanders, the area commanders, the high command, the PCOA board, and the Police Service Commission, which looks at hiring and firing and disciplining officers. We sit together and we discuss this report.
Your brand deserves to be seen. Don't settle for ordinary. Choose Symbiotic Media, delivering ultra-sharp, crystal clear LED screens that make every image pop. Brighter visuals, seamless setup, service you can trust. From major events to intimate podcasts, big or small, we do it all. Your screen deserves to be seen. Call Symbiotic Media, 876-429-1110.
Are you seeking specialty dental care? Well, look up Emirates Facial and Dental Specialists, Jamaica's only all-specialty dental practice. All board-certified oral surgeons, periodontists, and endodontists, offering maxillofacial procedures such as wisdom teeth extractions, laser gum surgery, dental implants, and root canals. Dr. Williams Parkin and Beecher offers state-of-the-art specialty procedures at affordable fees. Call 876-678-6967 or 876-391-2923 to schedule an appointment today.
What great stories do you want to tell today? We are your storytellers. We are Digital Video Concept.
If you come to Jamaica and you want to have the best shoots ever, you have to call Digital Video Concept.
Producing extraordinary imagery with high-definition cameras on the ground and in the sky. Excellence is in our nature. Call us today for all your video storytelling need.
None of this would be possible, of course, if we didn't have our partners at Digital Video Concept.
Are you ready? We are ready. Let's go!
Welcome back to Let's Talk. You have a background in natural resource management, and you have worked with various organizations, including Democracy International and now UNIDO. What drew you to this field, and how did you end up in this role?
So it started as a little girl. Growing up, I was from a poor family background. I didn't have a lot of friends outside of school.
You're such an introvert when you were younger?
I was
Okay.
very much so. I was an only child, and we didn't have a TV in the house. So naturally, when I came from school, I was either doing arts, using the scissors and cutting up papers to make things, or I was reading. And I recall there was this book called Earth Sciences. I don't recall where I got it from.
Earth Sciences?
Earth
Playing in the
Sciences.
dirt or what?
No, it was about Earth processes, so how planets are formed,
Okay,
the
fair
different
enough.
planets, how mountain ranges are formed and all of that. And I remember getting very intrigued about that.
This book, Earth Science, that you read from a little girl, basically shaped your future.
Yes, I think it did, because that is where my intrigue in the natural environment really began.
Okay.
And then at university, I was naturally more inclined to do geology, because again, those, natural environmental processes. For geography, there was a human aspect and there was a physical aspect. And I recall saying to myself that, boy, I'm so shy and I don't want to interact with the people. Right? So I gravitated towards geology. But funny enough, when I graduated the university, my major was in geography.
Really?
With a minor in geology. And then when I started doing job hunting, I was looking at places where I would be out in the environment. So I was applying for jobs at places like Water Resource Authority, NEPA, Jamalco for the mining,
right,
the bauxite mining, right. And at the time, one of my professors recommended me for a project. So that was my very first project in international development. And when I went on that project, my chief of party at the time and another of the senior officers there, within 2 weeks, they said, come, we're going into the field and you're going to deliver a training.
How did those experiences prepare you for the work you're now doing at UNIDO?
Having that understanding has helped me to be able to support the project in building in resilience into the work that we're doing. So at the end of the day, what we're looking to see is for these enterprises that we're working with, these producers that we're working with, to be more resilient, to not just grow productively, to not just grow competitively, but to be able to withstand and recover from the inevitable shocks that will come.
So what does it mean to you to personally be in this position, representing Jamaica's interests while working with these global organizations?
For me personally, if the work that I do is able to reach and significantly impact just one person, just one community, just one business, then I feel like it would not have been in vain. Working with UNIDO has enabled me to be able to support the process of bringing access to the targeted beneficiaries, to those beneficiaries who would have been most vulnerable in this case.
So what's the biggest misconception people have about what international organizations like UNIDO actually do?
The biggest misconception is that these international organizations, they come into the country and they have this bag of money to provide funding for a project that is short term, but at the end of the day, those project outcomes are not sustained. I think a lot of people think that because when they hear about project, they often think that, it's a waste of money.
So if you could give one piece of advice to Jamaican MSMEs about how to position themselves to benefit from projects like this, what would it be?
My one piece of advice is to put yourself out there. I mentioned it before, do not self-reject. Even if you feel that you do not fully qualify, still put yourself out there because you never know what can happen.
Where do you see Jamaica's agro-industrial sector in 5 years if we get technology transfer and capacity building right?
If we get this right, David, in 5 years, I'm looking to see MSMEs that are producing more consistently and we have greater value addition at the end of the value chain. I'm also looking to see greater linkages between both the processors and the producers. And I'm also looking to see we are more resilient to external shocks, and I feel having a combination of those three would drive us to more regional, to be better able to compete regionally and internationally, have our value added products out there on the market in that regard.
In a strong way. So where can we find UNIDO, and what do people have to do to sign up for the applications?
To find UNIDO, you can go to our social media pages on Facebook and Instagram at Jamaica Agro-Industrial Div. And to access the call for applications, interested MSMEs can visit the JBDC website at jbdc.net.
What keeps you motivated in this work, especially when progress can sometimes feel slow?
Honestly, it is the stories that I hear at the end of these projects. So this is my 4th project, and at the end of each project, I keep in contact with some of those beneficiaries.
Oh, beautiful.
And sometimes you do not see the impact immediately, but after the project ends and you're able to talk to these beneficiaries and you hear the impact that that project has had on their lives, on their livelihoods, that is what keeps me going.
Okay. Sanatty, thanks so much for being here with us today. And thank you so much for being here and for breaking down the real work of building sustainable income growth in Jamaica. You're showing us that international partnerships, when done right, isn't about dependency. They're about technology transfer, capacity building, and creating the conditions for Jamaican businesses to thrive. And to everyone watching this is what Let's Talk is all about. Conversations with people who are using their skills, their platforms, and their influence to create real change. Before we go, I want to say a huge thank you to our sponsors who continue to make this show possible. Digital Video Concept, Pro Audiovisual Systems, and Lloyd's Decor and Rental. If you enjoyed this episode of Let's Talk, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. You can also tune in on LCBN TV UK. Let's talk. Your story, our platform. Until next time, stay inspired, stay purposeful, and let's keep talking. I am David Henry. Shalom.